Hi, everybody. Steve Wilder of Sorensen Wilder and Associates, along with Dan Wilder, Vice President of Operations. Before we get started, let me explain to you what we want to do here. These are very challenging times, and we want to make sure we stay in touch with our friends and our clients, but we also want to share with you some of the feedback that we're getting as we talk to you regarding the safety and security challenges that your staff are facing. And Dan, I think you'll agree with me, these are kind of turbulent times that we're in, something I don't think most of us have ever been through before. And talking to our clients, it seems like a lot of our clients are dealing with hostile family members who are upset because they can't visit. They're stressed. They're feeling like they're on the edge of the cliff, if you will.
Well, they hear that, and they hear that their parents don't want to see them, and they are nervous, worried about their family, worried about people getting the virus. That kind of thing just triggers the panic and unrational decisions.
Yeah, and it's one of the common things we hear, and when we talk about people being hostile, aggressive, whatever term you want to use, it's not physical aggression that we're hearing about, but it's frustration. As Dan said, it's anxiety, and these people are taking it out on the healthcare workers. They're angry because they can't come in. They'll show up at the door. We have had some clients tell us that their employees have actually been threatened by family members of some of the residents. Dan, how can staff members deal with those types of challenges?
Well, as we talk about with our program, the Essentials of Aggression Management in Healthcare, communication is probably one of the biggest things that we can do, and listen to the concerns that the family members are saying. Use a technique that we refer to as reflective listening. Hear what they're saying, reflect it back to them, and then give them the answers and the solutions to help ease their concerns. Good communication through the use of mass notification systems, technology, whether it's communicating with family members or using social media and Zoom or other conferencing and devices so they can still talk to their family members. So their parents are also angry and they're nervous and they don't know what's going on in the outside world, and they're just seeing this and hearing only what the news is telling them or what the facilities are saying, and that causes their nervousness. And when families hear that, they get nervous as well. So good communication with both the parents and the family members that are in the facility, as well as communication with the family members outside of the facility. But then also using words that end in apostrophe T, and asking them questions and asking for compliance rather than telling them you can't come in here. We ask them questions and phrase it in a way that says, you want what's best for your family, don't you? You don't want to take a chance of them being exposed to something.
And we teach that in the class, the N apostrophe T words, and we hear people say that surprisingly it does work because it empowers the other person to make the right decisions. One of the things that always comes to my mind is, most of the time when people are escalating their behaviors because of circumstances, in their mind there's somebody to blame. With COVID-19, there's nobody to blame. They can't point the finger at a person and say, this is your fault. So they're frustrated with that. They're frustrated that there's no fix. And they want what they want, but they know they can't have it. And they end up lashing out at other innocent people because of this. Do you still feel, in the classes you teach, directed versus non-directed anger, do you still feel that's applicable in a case like this?
Oh, it absolutely is still applicable. And it's still, a lot of this is non-directed anger, and it's a loss of power. I always had the power to go see grandma whenever I wanted to. I no longer have that power. So by giving them the chance to make that decision, that it is best not for me to go see, and we're not going to let them in, but if we can allow them to keep their dignity and keep their power, if you will, by asking them questions that they want to say yes to and ending in an apostrophe T, it will help them make that rational decision and think about it before they come in or try to come in.
Yeah, it is hard. We've experienced it firsthand. Dan mentioned a second ago, and my elderly mother was in an assisted living rehab facility not too very long ago, right before all of this started. The last week that she was in there, we could not go in to see her. And then she was well enough to be discharged home because they needed bed space, which we were thankful for. But it was very hard on us, but it was equally hard on her. So, it is a shared frustration. You brought up such a great point there. One of the things, communicate with your staff and share this video with your staff. We always use the acronym Q-tip, and remind your staff, quit taking it personally. These people aren't lashing out at your staff because your staff has done anything wrong. They know that your staff is not to blame for this. As I said a moment ago, there's nobody to blame. But sometimes they just need to vent. They need to let the pressure out. They need to just vent their frustration at somebody, and our staff end up being on the receiving end. And so much of it's going to go back to what Dan said a few minutes ago and how we react to it.
Again, when we're feeling this way, we say you're not coming in here, there's nothing you can do to get in here, and if you try to come in, we're going to call the cops. It turns into a challenge, and now we're testing them and challenging their ego.
And you wouldn't be receiving this if you weren't a friend or a client of ours. And our friends and our clients know that they can call us anytime. There's never going to be, as we jokingly say, we're not your attorney. There's never going to be a charge for a 15-minute phone call. So if you have any questions, please. And we're in the same boat you guys are. Our offices are shut down. We're working from home. But our 800 24-hour crisis hotline is always available. That number is 800-568-2931, and the answering service on that crisis hotline will get a message over to us, and we will return your call as quickly as possible. So on behalf of Dan and I, thanks for joining us for this production. We'll have more coming to you in the not too distant future. We want you to stay informed. We want you to stay on top of some of the challenges that we're seeing in the industry, and we want you to know we're here for you.
Thank you guys. Stay healthy.